Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Green Lantern issue 3 by Jeremy Adams, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Xermanico and Montos. Adams finally gets back to his story of the return of Hal Jordan, who begins testing out his new ring, finding it very similar to the ring he got from Abin Sur, yet doesn't work in space and doesn't have an AI or a network it's connected to. Hal's mysterious new ring isn't the only problem, as Adams begins developing Sinestro's story a little bit more, having him become involved in Hal's life in an interesting way, as we learn he's seemingly on a mission from the Legion of Doom, and looks for some aliens hiding out in Coast City to help him get into Ferris Air and to the new prototype jets we saw in the last issue. We don't see what he actually does to the jets, but I assure you it's probably going to be something pretty bad. He probably messed with the AI systems in it, or did something to it that will look like it will implicate Hal in some sort of terrible accident or something. I like that Adams is using Sinestro as a villain not for Hal's Green Lantern side, but his everyday job side this time round. The villain is actively targeting things in Hal's work life, and it's causing him more trouble with Carol, who is worried her company is going to get pulled into whatever Hal is involved in. Sinestro also actually confronts Hal at the end of the issue, which is another surprise since I assumed the villain would play a sort of cat and mouse game with Hal for the next few issues, since Hal does learn that Sinestro is on Earth this issue, and I just thought maybe he would be hiding out from him and just hitting him when he least suspects it. But I kind of like that there is a confrontation there, a former master talking with his apprentice sort of thing, and I'm intrigued to see where that goes in the next issue. It's also nice to have just a proactive villain and a writer using them in such a way that keeps the story moving at a nice pace. I did feel Adam's story was a little light though, and the only real new information we got was about Sinestro, since all of the stuff with the ring is being kept really rather vague right now. Hal never really gets into the nitty gritty of the ring and why it's back and what powers it has, since it seemingly has some new powers as well, yet we're never really explained all of that. It's all very vague for now. Xermanico's lovely artwork kept the book moving and had a really awesome sort of sunset twilight looks for many of the pages, using lighting on characters' faces and the environments to paint a really pretty picture. He does some really fantastic work. Philip Kennedy Johnson meanwhile concludes his backup with John Stewart, as John's book is now out, and concludes it in an action-packed, exciting way as John joins Lantern Shepherd in battling the Revenant Queen, revealing that the being happens to have her own ring and she uses it to escape into the multiverse and away from this Earth's John. This is also the time where I remind you that most of this story is actually set on a different Earth away from this. This was actually set in the Earth that John had when he was in the Dark Crisis of Infinite Earths strange prior universe. It's very weird why they set it in this universe. It's really strange. I guess they just like the designs and the concepts of that Earth and just wanted to run with it, but it's very strange, especially since that event's been over for a good 12 months now. John is left to set Lantern Shepherd out on his mission, and it's a very Terminator-esque mission where he has to follow the Revenant Queen to wherever she goes in the multiverse, more likely than not than Earth Zero, and protect that Earth's John Stewart, almost like he's Kyle Reese and he's got to protect Sarah Connor. It's a really neat premise for a book, and I'm intrigued to learn more about Lantern Shepherd, since they keep inferring that maybe he was related to like Guy Gardner or maybe one of the past Lanterns, but we don't really know a lot about him. But I assume we're going to learn a lot more about him in John's solo book. The book then switches over to Earth Zero John, and we get a really cool and interesting look at his relationship with Guy Gardner, since he ends up meeting with Guy and talks to him about his longing for being back in the skies. Johnson has done a fantastic job showing us how some soldiers or military people like John can't really go back to normal lives after serving. No matter how hard they try, and they try really hard to just acclimate back to normal life, but they can't because of what they have witnessed while out on a tour or something. And it's made much more impactful since John's mother has Alzheimer's, and while he wants to be there with her and help her and everything, he also feels that call to the stars, and his mother can see that as well and wants him to do that, making for a painful choice for him in the near future. Montos, the artist, continues delivering just awesome looking artwork for John's story. All the designs look crazy good, especially with the green and purple contrast coloring bathing everything in a real cool ethereal glow. Again, this is kind of harkening back to Johnson's real knack for creating real eldritch abominations and weird sort of lore around different space aliens and stuff, much like the Revenant Queen, and it's just echoed here greatly in the artwork. Adams and Johnson's third issue of the Green Lantern ongoing fleshed out the two stories really quite well, sending them both on unique and interesting directions that make great use of classic Green Lantern villains, as well as some new monstrous creations. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10, so definitely check it out, and check out John Stewart War Journal, as that's just come out and I'm going to be covering it here on the channel very soon.